I know Mudgy.
You know Mudgy? Yeah. Well, we worked for 3 years in the same ute together, and we had the best times. But so he was obviously he was the first one to show me freestyle. Drew, come out to here and commentate for me. I didn't know a thing to do, but we were just working out.
Neither do I, mate. You just make it up. As long as you're loud, everyone thinks you know what you're talking about.
I'll ask you that sort of stuff later because it was a big thing, and I didn't actually really do it. But next minute, I had this mate that I worked with in a pub, and we went on to do other stuff, Mudgy, and I was just shown like this whole, it was right at that time, would have been 2000 to 2002 when it was still Krusty Demons. They were the boys. That sort of changed the whole thing after Seth. It's like the film that came out. What was it?
Well, they were the Krusty Demons films. I mean, they made like 11 of those things.
That's right. Well, that was that age, and I remember, traveling with this dude. Going, man, he's just living it all the time, going to all these shows and this and that. Then the Krusty show, they split, didn't they? Brian Deegan went into something.
Deegan had Metal Militia.
Yes.
And then there was the Krusty Demons. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it seemed like they were not necessarily both getting lost, but the punter like me kind of went, I see kids driving around with both stickers now. I don't get what it's all about, And we were riding pit bikes, but the pit bike scene went away.
Yeah.
And, but then all of a sudden, this nice, shiny, and they were promoting themselves as rednecks, but this Travis Pastrana. Did I pronounce his name
that's right. Travis Pastrana.
I watch him all the time, so forgive me.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it was this big and shiny thing. To think that was actually I guess it was their brand creation over there, and Aussie went, okay, just like
exactly, like the whole, they consider themselves to be a bunch of rednecks and just out there having good times on bikes or monster trucks or cars or whatever else, and the same as any farm kid does. And, Australia's had a good history of farm kids being rednecks, in their version of redneck, not the bad version of a redneck, etc. Yeah. But, Nitro is a very different show to what the old Krusty Demons shows were. I mean, there's a lot more than just freestyle motocross. We have skateboards, we have BMX bikes, we have all sorts of contraptions, kids' toys. If it's got wheels, we'll work out a way to jump it. That's always been the difference, and it's always been family orientated as well. The Krusty shows were definitely pretty hardcore.
Yeah,
it was a lot. It
was that time of arm
and,
sleeves,
death
tattooed
and anger and all that sort of thing, dancing girls and all that sort of stuff. It was definitely in your face, but the Nitro shows definitely a lot more sort of family friendly.
And that's what I meant, like the shiny. It was more, the colours even. Everything was just. It seemed like a whole bunch. Obviously the Krusty Boys started with the money. Right, so finally it all aligned for this actual brand.
Yeah, definitely.
And well, here's the difference when you say we've got our rednecks over here, but when I want to ask you, it just seems like they've got a lot of money to put this stuff on. They must, to see some kid do 4 backflips at the Nitro, obviously someone's been building all that stuff and prepping that, the compound or whatever you call it. There's a whole lot more to it than what we see.
Oh, definitely. But, it's all about promotion. As you said, you've done your time in bands. It's not like the pub just calls you and says, come play. There's someone promoting. There's someone out there who's taking the risk, who's booking the bands, who's booking all the travel, and all that money gets laid out, and hopefully you sell enough tickets, and when you do, you're justified. You either make a loss or you make a profit, and you hope you can do it again so that everyone continues to work. And that's all. In the end, Nitro is just a band. It's just a live show. Nitro Circus these days. But because of the success of those live shows, we've played some incredibly big shows around the world. We did 35,000 in Johannesburg. We played Madison Square Garden. We played the O2 Arena in London. We've played MGM Grand in Vegas 3 times. So some of the biggest venues, and because of that success, it's now back on television. And so NBC starts throwing down money and says, we want something crazy. And there's no shortage of crazy ideas in Nitro Circus land. And so some kid goes, I'm going to do 4 flips on a BMX bike. Or Josh Sheehan says, I'm going to do 3 flips on a freestyle motocross bike. 2002 was the first time anyone actually just flipped the motocross bike.
Isn't that crazy?
And so to do 3 now, the stats on that are absolutely staggering. You know, like the ramp is 37 feet tall, so about 13 meters tall, and then he hits it in fifth gear, doing 85, 86 kilometers an hour, and then just starts rotating. He's 30 something meters in the air at the peak of that jump. It's absolutely insane. There's no way around it, but that's what these guys do. You know, you want to talk about passion. That's passion. Try and stop them. You won't.
No, and you think of all, you're exactly right. Only 10 years ago. Oh, no, what?
Not much
15.
more than 10, yeah.
Yeah. But to think of all the crashes, okay, fifth gear, we have to do it in fifth gear. It's 37 feet. All the crashes that led up to that.
Yeah.
You know, this constant develop. I said this on another thing. The alignment with GoPro and be able to, or your phone even, and just showing to your mate, you know, that you can. I remember when Mudgy did a backflip at, we were painting swimming pools together.
Right.
Where are you, Mudgy? And Guy Newman, where are you guys? Oh, we're out at Boona at, what's his name?
At Shuey's place.
Matt Schubring's house, who had the only foam pit around, right? And cool, right? He's going to try and do a backflip, and they did it all day. Finally got it back, but they had to wait to get home to open the VHS tape to put it in the thing to actually view it, you know, because mobile phone technology wasn't about yet, and it didn't even... but now kids can just go, this is what you did wrong, this is what you did wrong, do that, you know, right there, over and over and over. So our ability now to turn one backflip, which was amazing, into three on the very day.
Oh, just incredible. How funny are the phones, though, these days? I mean, anytime you're on stage, anytime you're playing a gig, if you look around, just the amount of people watching everything these days through their phones. Just recording everything, just pointing at you. I mean, you know, maybe you don't look when you're banging behind those drums there, but there's cameras in the air. People are watching whole gigs through their cameras, through their phones.
Very odd.
Yeah.
What's it like with 35,000 people? Okay, well, more to the point, your travelling show. So obviously there's a whole bunch of guys. Let's pretend it's a band. All right, here we are. Nothing can go wrong. So no doubt, people being people, there'd be people that get travel wary, you know, and a little bit injured, but not necessarily injured, and you sort of worry that this trick can work, or getting jaded to the idea by nature.
Oh, definitely. No two shows are ever exactly the same. I mean, we might have the same show plan. We might want to do shows exactly the same, but there could be anything involved from, as you said, someone injured, someone unwell. The setup of the building can restrict some acts within our show. We can't do the same things every single night. You got people who can't make it to the show, you know, certain writers, all that sort of thing. But it's a big touring party. You know, the last tour that we just finished a couple of weeks ago was 7 weeks through the US and Canada. 95 people in the touring party, sort of 40-something performers, another 50 who put the show together every day and every night. And to me, they're the true heroes of our show. Like, they're the true stars. The crew who are there working, honestly, 20 hours a day, putting the set up, pulling the set down, putting it up, putting it down. You know, they're still there 3 hours after we've finished. We're already having a beer and partying and, you know, thinking about the next day. Yeah. They're still,
and you've had the adulation, you're the king.
Absolutely. They're still getting dirty. They're still sweaty and dirty, pulling the thing down, putting it on trucks. The trucks leave, turn up at the venue, another venue the next day. It could be in a different city, a different state, a different country when we're touring Europe. And they've got to pull it all out, set it all up, and usually by 3 o'clock that afternoon, they give the set back to us and we can start rehearsing for that night's show.
Nuts.
Like, it's just a well-oiled machine, you know, 100 people on the road at once.
Crazy. And you're an Aussie. Yeah. I used to go over there for sprint car racing, right? And but so I know, you know, what it's like to be in the Midwest, and the people we get along well with the people from the towns, Americans and Aussies. I think they seem to like us a lot.
They do like us. That's because we're nice people. There's no doubt at all. But you'd be amazed. You know, you said, and I'm an Aussie, but at a rough guess, I would say 60% of the people involved with Nitro Circus are Australian.
True.
Because obviously it started here doing the live shows.
Australia. Yes.
But the talent alone would easily be 50 to 60% Australians in that US-based show. And then the crew, you know, the guys who design the ramps, build the ramps, manufacture them so they can pack down as small as quickly as they can and get loaded onto trucks and move to the next place. There's a couple of Aussie guys who do that, guys who have been doing that for years, who seriously lead the world in that kind of knowledge. Trevor Brooks out of Melbourne. Those guys are the heroes. They blow me away. My job's easy. I get to roll out of my bunk on my tour bus whenever I feel like it, walk in and expect catering to be up and running for me. Where's my dressing room? This is a crap dressing room. Oh, you have to. There's 100 people. You're doing back-to-back shows. The caterers, there's breakfast on the table by 6 o'clock in the morning, and they're serving 3 meals a day for 100 cast and crew plus hangers on.
So they would travel with you, of course.
Oh yeah, they've got.
So you get to know
They've got
everyone.
their bus, they've got their trucks, and they live their life, and they, to be honest, feed us too well. I come back heavier than I leave every single time I go on tour.
What else you got to do for those couple of hours?
So my part of this whole thing is an absolute breeze. It's the people who really work for a living that blow me away.
That's such an achievement. I'm surprised I'm finding out right now. I guess people in your industry and the bike industry really know that it's an Aussie sort of deal and has been, but to me that's front page news.
Yeah, possibly, but we're just a bunch of kids with a cool job. We're just out doing our thing.
Australia's weird, man. I was watching where was I? Cooley Hotel, and they were playing on the big screens. They always have different channels on. Then there was the Speedway, the bike Speedway in the big GP league they have over in Europe, and every race has an Aussie or two. Every time I looked up at that screen, another Aussie. But look at where we are situated in the world, so far away. There must be something in our, where we just love a bit of dirt. We can get ourselves into a bit of trouble. Like, why not Estonia or something about us that sort of is attracted to bikes and dirt and.
I guess, I don't know why we are attracted to that sort of lifestyle, except that, we are the lucky country. We definitely have every opportunity in the world. And it's true what you said about, every race, every meet, there's Australians and Australians doing well in so many sports. And I always wondered why, but I remember a couple of BMXers, Cam White and Ryan Gutler, who've had incredible success in the US at X Games and Dew Tour and all that sort of thing, which is the pinnacle of the sport. And I remember, and
did you say Dew Tour?
Yeah, sorry, DEW.
Wow.
that drink.
Damn it, Dew Tour sounded way better.
They were asked in an interview, why are Australians so good? Why are there so many Australians coming over here in action sports and doing the business? And their answer blew me away. The simple fact is that we have been so far removed from the rest of the world. We are in the middle of nowhere. And so the only access we've ever had to sport that we'd like to chase is TV, clips, movies, videos, etc. Now, everything that makes a movie is a success, is a make. As you said, you see someone do a triple backflip on a motorbike and you think, right, well, if I'm going to be in the best in the world, I have to do that. You don't see the 5 years it took. You don't see the crashes. You don't see the hospital time. All you see is the landed trick. All you saw is the success. And you think, being this far away, that must happen every day, and that's what you've got to do. And so that's why Australians have become so good in so many sports, I think, is because in order to compete on the international scene, we're not just giving it a go. We're making sure we're absolutely as best as we can be before getting on a plane and lobbing up and trying to challenge the world.
Yeah. I read this AC/DC book, and they reckon Malcolm Young, the rhythm guitarist, was always a bit of a mongrel, but he's only 4 foot something tall, Angus. But the quote was, and I never forgot it: "The smaller you are, the bigger you think you need to fight," or exactly that. Like,
I think that's probably the case. If you want to match it with the big dogs, you better have some teeth.
Yeah. So they show up. It'd be so strange. What, 300 something, 50 million? In America?
Yeah, who knows the number? But yeah,
does it feel like that plus. Sometimes? Do you find yourself in towns where it's just too much for your? Where were you born?
I was born in London. I'm actually a Pom, but don't hold it against me. Yeah, but born in London, moved to Australia when I was 5. Grew up in Australia, but since then,
so your folks
full on
are
gypsy.
English?
Since then, yeah.
Wow. So what part of Australia though?
Grew up in Sydney.
Okay, what part there? What suburbs?
Oh, all over the place. Out west, out Campbelltown way.
Okay, I lived in Ashfield for a bit.
Ah, there you go.
You know, somewhere out there.
As soon as I got out of Campbelltown, I was in that same area. I was in